Hello, today I am making a brand new dessert. Well, a dessert that's new to me because I've never made it before. But I'm going to be making raspberry cheesecake cups. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting to learn. I wanted to do this with you all so that we can learn this together. As far as the equipment that you will need to make this recipe, you're of course going to need a mixing bowl. You're going to need a hand mixer. You're going to need this. I don't know the technical name of this, but I know that it squeezes fresh lemon juice. I have a wooden spoon and a spatula. I have a couple of spoons just for scooping. And I also have a piping bag with the 1M Wilton piping tip. It is the star tip. If you can, I don't know if you can see that there. But that is what we're using today. So I have already made the glaze for my raspberry mixture. So I already have that done, and right now it's pretty warm. It just came off of the stove, so I'm letting it kind of cool down as I make the cheesecake portion of the recipe. So we're going to start out with 12 ounces of cream cheese. And you want to make sure that it is room temperature because that makes it much easier to mix. So we're going to start out with this in the bowl. If I can get it off my spatula. Okay. There we go. Set that aside. And we're going to go ahead and give this a mix just so that it's got a good consistency before we add the other ingredients. So I'm just gonna use this spoon to scrape off the rest of this here. Okay. So I'm gonna start off on a low speed, and then I'm going to kind of gradually take the speed up when I notice that the cream cheese is starting to give a little. Let's get going. Okay, take it up. Gosh, cheesecake is one of my favorite desserts. My mom used to make cheesecakes for holidays, mainly like Christmas, and my gosh, strawberry is my absolute favorite. This will be my first time trying raspberry, so I'm really excited about it, but it is a really good dessert. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add about 3/4 cups of powdered sugar. Just add that right into the bowl. And this is where the lemon comes in. When I was talking about fresh squeezed lemon juice, you're gonna take this lemon and put it in here. And if it's okay if the lemon doesn't quite fit in there, primarily this catches the seeds so the seeds don't go into your whatever you're preparing. So I'm going to, if I can get this to go right, give it a squeeze, and you want to squeeze about 2 tablespoons. So if you want to kind of squeeze it ahead of time so you can measure out the 2 tablespoons exactly, of course you can do that. I'm just eyeballing a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to give this another mix. Before I take the speed up, I'm going to scrape the bowl down just so that I can make sure I get all of the bits in there so we don't have any inconsistent batter. Get all of that powdered sugar down in there. Give the bottom of the bowl a slight scrape. Make sure we're all good there. Okay. Okay, so I think we have a pretty good consistency on our cream cheese batter, or our cheesecake batter, I should say. And so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give the bowl another scrape. And then I'm going to add in some whipped cream. And I'm just gonna fold the whipped cream in with the spatula. I'm not going to mix it, just because you don't wanna really over mix your batter. I don't prefer to over mix the batter. I think that you want to make sure that you're being really careful with that. Okay. Now that I've got this bowl scraped down, I'm going to add in, and I have about a third cup of whipped cream here. I'm just gonna fold it into the batter. And so by fold, I just mean I'm just going to kind of just take the spatula, kind of take it up under everything and just kind of start to slowly mix that whipped cream in so that we can make sure it gets whipped, mixed up very nicely. I'm so excited to try this. So while I'm doing this, I still have the raspberry mixture that is cooling down so that we can begin to put our cups together. Okay, so I feel like I have my whipped cream mixed in pretty good. And so I'm going to transfer this mixture into the piping bag so that we can create our mixture. One thing I didn't mention is the graham cracker kind of crust is more of really a crumb mixture. This is not going to become a crust, but if you want to make this, you can use about a cup of crushed up graham crackers, just like a cup of graham cracker crumbs, tongue-tied. And then I did about a half a stick of melted butter. I just put it in the microwave and let it melt. And I did about 2 to 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. You can, if there's like any other kinds of things that you want to add to your mixture, you can. Of course, that's up to you, but that is what I used here. So I'm going to go ahead and work on putting this mixture into this piping bag so that we can get started. Okay. So the way that's easiest for me to fill a piping bag or pastry bag, some refer to it as a pastry bag, is I will take the bag and I will fold it down about halfway like this, because I am not a fan of air pockets, which a lot of times you'll get if you can't get that if it's buttercream, or in this case this is the cheesecake filling. If you can't get it right down in there as close to the tip as you can develop a bunch of air pockets and it'll create for inconsistent piping. So I like to get it down about halfway, and then I'll just take my hand. I'm left-handed, so I'm gonna scoop with my left hand. I'm gonna hold it with my right hand. And I'm gonna take this spoon and just begin to put this mixture into the bag. And I'm not gonna do very big. So I like to just get the batter down in there, and I just will kind of just scrape it off with my thumb on this side. I'm just gonna just put the spoon right down in there so I can avoid any air pockets in my piping bag. Of course, I'm making a bit of a mess, but that's okay. That happens when you're baking. Okay, so almost all of my batter. Okay. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I can just smell like the lemon fragrance. It just smells so good. You can, as an alternative, if you are one who prefers to use lemon zest in your cheesecake batter, you're more than welcome to use that instead of the lemon juice. I would say maybe the zest of half a lemon would probably be good for this recipe, for those who are big fans of lemon zest. So, okay, here we have the piping bag created with our cream cheese frosting. So we're gonna use this to help develop the cheesecake cup. I'm gonna set this aside for 1 second. I'm gonna move this bowl out of the way. Okay, I'll just move this also. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in our mason jars. I have 6. I thought it was a pretty decent amount of cups to make. Don't need to make a whole ton of them with this recipe. If you wanted to do this for, say, a party and you had a bunch of guests coming over, you can take these portions, and of course, if you want to double them or triple them to make more, then you are more than welcome to. Okay, so now I have my jars that are ready, aside from this one, and we're good to go. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit so you can see a little bit. Okay, I think that helps you see the jars better. Okay, so we're going to start out with the graham cracker crumb. We're gonna put that on the bottom. That's gonna be our base layer. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with my graham cracker mixture here. I'm just going to take it. It's been sitting for a second. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir. Give it a quick stir like that. Going to put some down here in the bottom. This is the first jar. I guess I'll move these out the way so you can see what I'm doing here with this jar. Just gonna put a couple of spoons of that mixture in there. Okay, so you're starting out with your mixture like this. I'm just gonna pat it down so it looks kind of even. Okay, so you're starting out with your mixture like this. Okay, then I'm going to do a layer of the cheesecake. Look at that, that looks so pretty. Okay, then I'm going to add a layer of raspberry and just put it right there on the top of there. I'm going to give it another layer. You can see how nicely that's kind of coming together in the jar. You see the layers there? That's how you know you're getting a nice mixture of the raspberry and the cheesecake. Okay. I'm gonna just give it one more little drizzle. And then top it off with a raspberry. And you have yourself a perfect raspberry cheesecake cup, okay? And I'm going to fill the rest of the jars. Okay guys, so now that we have our cheesecake cups assembled, the last little step is to just put one raspberry right there on the top. Give it a nice cup topper. And there we have it. We have our nicely assembled raspberry cheesecake cups. And so for these, I would say you can put them in the fridge for about an hour just to give the cheesecake and the raspberry mixture just time to kind of cool and settle and let those flavors kind of just develop. The amazing thing about using the mason jars that they have lids that you can go ahead and just cover them up with. And these lids that I have for these have a date on them. So let's say if I wanted to have them in the refrigerator for some unknown reason and serve them later, I can have the date on here from when I made it. Just different kinds of neat, kind of convenient things like that I find for mason jars. So yeah, but at the minimum, I would say about an hour in the refrigerator just so that they can chill. Like you would a normal cheesecake, let it chill in the refrigerator so that flavor can develop, and you'll be free to serve them from that point. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to create this recipe with me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. Again, if you have any nice tips or tricks that you'd like to put in the comments for others to see or for me to see or anything of that nature, please feel free to leave them in there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.